Hey guys, I'm Vlad from Ashigara Studios, and welcome to our tutorial series for Space Engineers. In this video, I will cover basic movement and controls. Alright guys, to jump into this, as you probably know, as most games work, you use WASD just to move around and stuff, and that's how you control movement. If you hit V, you can go into third person mode, and then if you hold Alt, you can actually rotate around to get a 360 look. J is to control your helmet for whenever you're on a planet and you want to breathe oxygen. If atmosphere is not present and you're actually in a ship, and if that ship isn't using oxygen and you happen to open your helmet, you will die. The only reason I'm not dying is because I'm in creative mode currently. Of course we've got X to use the jetpack, which then sends you into jetpack mode. Obviously you can see I can fly around. That's a cool and dandy. O is to turn your broadcaster on and off. What this does is it allows other players to see you. So for any like infiltration missions and whatnot, you may want to leave that off. L is just to turn on a torch. You can't really see it because the sun's out right now. In the bottom left, you will see a plus, an O2 sign, an electricity sign, and a H2. That's in the bottom left there. What that stands for is the top one's for your health, the second one's for your oxygen level. This is how long until your suit oxygen level actually runs out. The electricity bolt is actually your suit power. Without suit power, none of your hand tools will work, so your welder won't work, your grinder won't work, but we'll go on to that in a little bit. And your H2 is your hydrogen, which is actually how your thruster works. Without any hydrogen, you won't be able to use your suit at all. Suit jetpack, that is. And so make sure to keep an eye on that. It tends to run out a lot faster on planets as well. The other thing with power is, without power, even if you're standing in a ship with oxygen, if you happen to go outside, you will actually get colder much faster. Now your temperature can actually be found at the bottom right, just below the little toolbar there. You can actually see where it says freeze and O2 none. That means there's no oxygen in the atmosphere. And it's also freezing cold at the moment. Alright, now we'll move on to how inventory space works. So you can see just below this block here where I've selected it, and the top left there is a little backpack. Now that's actually inventory. Now when you press I on your keyboard, you'll actually come to this little menu here. Now this is your inventory. You can move things around. And when you go up to a cargo box, you'll actually be able to press F in the cargo box, and that'll allow you to actually open the cargo box inventory. And from there you'll be able to move things in and out. And you can also drop things by doing this, and that'll drop it on the ground. Alright, and here I've just spawned a little cargo container just to demonstrate. So if you want to pick an item up, you can press C to crouch. Now that'll allow you to pick up that item that might be on the ground. Usually this happens when somebody dies or a cargo container breaks. Variety of reasons. Then you just go up to the cargo container, you'll see a little yellow light come up like that. Just press F, and as I've already said, you can move things in and out. You'll notice here it has a weight limit. So if you happen to go over that weight limit, you won't be able to put anything else in there. And the same thing goes for here. You might also see there's an account balance here, but we'll go into that later. The weight system is based off the liter metric. So the heavier you are, the more hydrogen you will use, the more everything you will use basically. And yeah, that's how cargo works. Alright, now we're going to go into some of these other tabs here. Now, we have remote access here. Now, whenever you have a ship that has an antenna or anything like that, you can actually remotely access it and control it from a distance. You can also select which one you want to remotely access from this little drop down here. And there's nothing around here, so it just has my name. So we've got inventory, as you've already seen. We've got control panel, which is basically how you control a certain block on a terminal. You have production, which is how you control assemblers and refinery. So you've got info, which basically just gives you info about all the grids you might have. When you're actually in the control panel for a certain block, you'll be able to control these things here. How far you want friendly people to see it, and how far you want your enemies to see it. And for yourself actually, this is the slider you use to let to set how far you want to be able to see it from. Over here we have factions. Now when you first load into a single player game, There might be 3 enemy factions, but on this one I've just got pirates set up. So this is a reputation bar. Basically, if you do bad stuff, it'll go down. If you do good stuff, it'll go up. I think that involves missions and stuff. I haven't really gotten much into it myself. You can create a faction just by clicking create. You give yourself a tag. That's just what the tag will come up. You can give yourself a name. So you go Ashigara. The public info, which is what everybody will see, and then the private info, which is what your faction members will see. And then if you open this, you can actually set what you want your faction icon to be. You can set the hue, you can set the icon hue, just like that. You got the icon saturation to show you how saturated it is. You got the value. Then you can click OK. And click OK again, and voila! You've just created your first faction. Now, when you want people to join, you'll have to tell them to go to the Factions tab. They'll click on your faction, and then they'll click Request to Join. That'll pop up. You can actually click them from there, and you'll be able to click Accept, and that'll accept them into faction. You've got Add NPC, which is just whatever you want it to be, really. I've never been too sure why they actually added this to begin with, but I'm sure there's a perfectly good reason. Clicking this accepts peace from any other faction who wants to make a peace treaty with you. Accept everyone will allow anybody who wants to join your faction to join in instantly. Be careful with this, because once you actually accept them into your faction, unless you've got your medical base set to only allow you to spawn at it, people in your faction will be able to spawn at it, and sometimes what people tend to do is they tend to come to your faction base and they tend to troll it. Depends how you feel. If you trust your members to do it, you know, more the merrier. But just something to think about, to be careful about. Obviously you've got promote. You can promote them to a leader. You can kick them, you can demote them. You can share progress, which I believe is for the progress progression, which I have turned off on this server, but some people like that sort of stuff. And here you can actually deposit and withdraw from your faction using the money system that Space Engineers has added recently. That's how factions work. Alright, now we have comms. So we have global history. Now this is where people who talk, you know, that'll pop up there. It'll also pop up here. And that's how you can communicate with people, basically. Then you've got, of course, your faction. So this is faction chat. There's also a command to do that by just going /F hi, and that'll talk in faction chat. And yeah, that's how that works. And of course you've got GPS. This can be a little bit complicated. Now, to actually create a GPS, you can either click new and then type in the coordinates manually, or you can do new from current position, which will create one automatically and give you the coords. Now if you click copy to clipboard and you paste it in chat, so say you've got a nice little resource that you want to show your faction, you go /F and you would type that, and that'll actually pop up in your teammates' GPS list. Here it'll be grayed out. They'll click it, and then they'll be able to click show on HUD, and that'll show them where you are. Obviously you can also delete it and things like that, so that's pretty cool. And you can also add a description, a name, you know, whatever you want to call it, iron resource, etc, etc. And then if you press H, which is actually how you turn your GPS signals on and off. So if you set it to fully visible, that means it'll always be visible on your HUD no matter what. If you set it to no names, it'll just show you the square. If you select it to fully visible, you know, as I've just said, you can see it. And then normal display, you know, you won't be able to see it all the time, but it will be there when you look at it. So to open your block menu, all you got to do is press G. That'll bring this up. Now there'll be decorations. This is a DLC that you have to pay for. I believe this one's $5. But what you get in that is pretty good. It really depends on what your play style is. You know, how you want to play. Do you want to build, you know, role-play centered ships? You can just place things like that. Now you might have just noticed that this is actually on its side. Now you might be wondering, how do I actually rotate blocks? So if you look at your numpad just to the right of your keyboard, that'll be like a few numbers, a few arrows. You've got 0, enter, plus and minus. So if you press 6, that'll rotate it this way. And that's how you can you know, sort of aim it up on that particular axis. If you press 1, it'll flip it around, and if you press 7, it'll flip it the other way around, and 3 is to rotate it like that. So just play around with it, you'll figure it out as you go. So for this, you'd flip it around like that, just like that, and that's how rotation and stuff works. So we'll go back into this menu now. So you got all block weapons, block tools, character weapons, character tools, and so on and so on. Now, with production tools, which is what we're going to go into now. So we got refinery, we got planters, we got O2 H2 generator, we got assembler, survival kit, and we'll just grab a med bay. So one med bay. Oh, it's a new block. Alright, so this is a med bay. So this is basically how you'll spawn. So if you go up to this and you press K to open the terminal, here you'll be able to set who the owner is. So you can, if you click that, you can set the owner to be somebody else. Share block, share with my faction, no share, which is if you don't want your faction to be able to spawn at this med bay. Share with all will open your med bay to absolutely everybody in the server. You can name the med bay, so if you do this, when you die, it will also pop up when you die. So if I do that, like connect live in, just like that, you'll see in a second it'll pop up and give me an option. Oh, okay, I see. So I've actually got a thing called auto respawn on, which is a little annoying thing that King's actually added. So with servers and stuff, you might want to turn that off, just because it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But what would have happened is I would have died and gone into a menu, which would have allowed me to choose which medbay I want to spawn at. When you die, you actually drop these backpacks as well. You can get all your shit back and, you know, just use it when you want to. To heal up, and, you know, if you have O2 oxygen connected to this, you can actually come up to the screen and hold F, and that will actually heal you, recharge your batteries, you know, whatever you do. So we'll go back into this. So this is the spawn name. When you want to spawn on it, that's pretty much what will come up. So we'll just quickly go back to the control panel here as well. So once you're in control panel, you can pretty much change whatever you want. You can change the name. You can show the block of terminal, which will hide it or unhide it. Now if you hide it, you can't find it again. Just hit this little eye here and that'll show it up again. You can edit how you want all the systems to work. This is a gravity generator, so this is the field lift. You know, that just pretty much shows you in any direction which way the gravity generator will push you, so on and so on. You've got custom data. This is for more like coding and stuff. As you can see, I've named it high. You can actually see high there. You know, you can, you know, name this to whatever you want. That works great. Use conveyor system if you have it hooked up to conveyor system, but you don't want it to use any resources from a cargo container. That'll stop you from using that. I'll go into how the conveyor system works in a later video, just because it is a little bit more complicated. And yeah. The other thing we have is survival kits. It's like a dumbed down version of the medbay. I am pretty certain you can spawn at these two. Yeah, you can spawn at these two. And these are basically just if you don't want a full-blown medbay. Alright guys, that was just a quick overview on how the character controls and a little bit on how blocks work. If you like this video, continue watching on in the series. I'll be uploading quite regularly, probably at least once a day. And thanks for watching. See you later.